How's it going, guys? Hope you guys have a great week. So I'm back today with a quick video, guys. I did want to lay down and share my thoughts on the Game Awards announcement. So obviously this year, again, as always, we're going to get the Game Awards, which is set to air on the 8th of December. And what I want to do in this video is just kind of go through them, make some predictions in terms of what I think actually is likely to win in each of the major categories. I want to talk about which I would pick to win in those categories as well, and then at the end of this video I'm going to discuss and kind of announce how we're going to do our community game awards and really throw it out to you guys to give some feedback on what you would like to see and how you'd like to see it done this year. So let's jump in anyway and get started on this. So obviously let's jump in and we'll just go through this together. We're going to start with the categories which are on here. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do every single category, but I'm going to go through the big ones. The biggest one, of course, is Game of the Year. So the nominees for Game of the Year this year are A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. My personal prediction is that Elden Ring is probably going to win this, I think. I think Elden Ring will potentially win Game of the Year, but personally at the moment I am playing through God of War Ragnarok and I'm absolutely loving it. I am loving that game, so I actually think it will be between Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok as to who takes it. I think either would be a worthy winner, but personally, I probably would lean more towards God of War Ragnarok because obviously, as you guys know, I'm a story character-based gamer and there is an interesting world and lore in Elden Ring, but there isn't, like, you know, it's very much hidden. You have to do a lot of diving, but the open world exploration in Elden Ring is really, really cool. The designs are really cool, but I do think God of War, some of the performances, characters and story and set pieces in that are absolutely amazing. So personally, I probably would choose God of War, but I really enjoyed A Plague Tale Requiem this year, so I'm really happy to see that that's here in the Game of Year contender, and I'm really happy to see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in here too, because Dante and I played that and we really enjoyed it, so I'm happy to see a JRPG represented as well. But personally, I do think this is going to be between Elden Ring and God of War in terms of who will win. So we're going into Best Game Direction. Now personally, I think this is probably gonna go to again either God of War or Ragnarok. I'm surprised that Horizon Forbidden West has gotten so many nominations this year. Not that it's a bad game, it is a good game, but it came out earlier on in the year, as did Elden Ring, to be fair. But yeah, it's kind of good to see obviously it represented, and of course I did really enjoy Stray. But for me personally, it's a game between Elden Ring and God of War. God of War has incredible cinematography, incredible direction. I actually think God of War will pip it here, but Elden Ring is very clever in the way that it kind of sort of encourages exploration and kind of leads you, you know, down certain paths and down the main path, and it doesn't really hold your hand. So the game direction in Elden Ring is really interesting, and it is one of the best open worlds that came out this year. But I do think that God of War Ragnarok, I think maybe Elden Ring might get Game of the Year, and I think God of War Ragnarok will probably get Best Game Direction if I'm actually to guess on that. Let's have a look at the next category. So this is Best Narrative. Contenders in this, I haven't played Immortality. I haven't even heard of Immortality, to be fair, so I'm kind of curious to check that out because that's got a couple of nominations this year. But I have played, you know, all four of these. So obviously A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War and Horizon Forbidden West. I've played all of them. Personally, I actually preferred the story in Horizon Zero Dawn. Although it did end the game in a very interesting sort of direction. God of War Ragnarok has an incredible story, characters, voice acting, performance. I wouldn't give Best Narrative to Elden Ring. Like I said, I think much of its lore and its story is kind of hidden. And you know, it's an interesting world, but I don't think it has the best storytelling. So for me personally, I would say that this is actually between A Plague Tale Requiem and God of War Ragnarok. A Plague Tale Requiem story, I really enjoyed it. I thought the performances of Amicia and Hugo were fantastic. I know for a lot of people it was very much a love-hate kind of thing with the story. Some people didn't really like the direction that the story went in, sort of leaning into that kind of Rat King, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed some of the performances, and it was a story that did really have an impact on me. Now, I haven't finished God of War Ragnarok yet, so I feel like it's a little bit unfair for me to fully judge it, but from what I've heard of it, this story in God of War Ragnarok is really satisfying and really well told. So I do think personally, I think God of War Ragnarok is going to win it, but I do think A Plague Tale Requiem is a very good contender. Let's look at the next category. So best art direction. I think this is probably going to go to Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring will probably get the best art direction. Some of the locations, some of the designs, not only from your own character's armor, but enemies that you face off, areas in the world, the map, the lore. It's fascinating. It's really interesting. So I think the art direction in Elden Ring is really, really top notch. So I actually think it will be Elden Ring that will take this. Scorn I haven't played. I know some people again love or hate it, and it has an interesting like dark art style, but it's all very, very similar for me as Scorn, whereas Elden Ring is a little bit more different. I do think Stray has an interesting setting as well, though, and an interesting world, but certainly I don't think it's on par with Elden Ring. So I think Elden Ring will take this. Let's look at the next category. So best score and music. This for me really is, you know, music is key for a game. I think music is one of the most important parts of a game's sort of immersion factor. A Plague Tale Requiem had some incredibly haunting music set pieces. God of War's music is just incredible, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3, like the Xenoblade series always have incredible music, so Chronicles 3 was no exception to that rule, and I do think it was amazing. Obviously Metal Hellsinger, it's a rhythm game, so music is really key to that, and obviously it's very heavy metal, so I haven't played it myself personally, but I know a lot of people that like heavy metal, you know, they'll be happy to see Metal Hellsinger here represented. But personally, I think this is probably between kind of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or God of War. I think, you know, both have incredible scores and are absolutely amazing. Personally, for me, I haven't played all of God of War Ragnarok, so I feel it's hard to make a judgment on that. But I absolutely love the music in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, so I probably would give that currently best score and music. Let's look at the next category. So best performance. Now, I'm intrigued on this one, to be fair. I'm not sure I would have... I mean, I love Ashley Birch, don't get me wrong. She's really awesome, and I love her as a voice actress. But I don't know if I would have nominated Aloy in this category, because even though she does do a fine performance, for me, when I'm looking at a performance, I'm looking at something that takes that story and that character and just elevates it and really brings that to life. And I feel like Amicia, so Charlotte McBurney, who plays Amicia in A Plague Tale Requiem, did that. I feel that Christopher Judge, who plays obviously Kratos, does incredible. There's so much with Kratos that's not said. There's so much subtleness in between lines and delivery and tone that is quite unique to Kratos. And obviously Suni Suljic obviously is Atreus as well. I haven't played Immortality, so I can't really comment on that. I know a lot of people have said that they would have liked to have seen Freya actually represented in this, and I feel that she would have deserved a place here. However, obviously, this is very God of War heavy in the performances, so I can see maybe why they didn't nominate her. But I would have rather have seen her maybe nominated compared to, say, Atreus. Not that I have anything against Sonny, and I think he did a great performance. But for me personally, best performance out of these, and that is bearing in mind I haven't finished Ragnarok yet, and my opinion might change, but currently I would probably vote for Charlotte McBurney, because I think she did an incredible job as Amicia and really did bring that character to life. And so, yeah, I'm very happy to see that she's been recognized for that and that she has been nominated. So, yeah, I probably would choose A Plague Tale Requiem for this one. The next category to look at is Best Ongoing. I think for this one, without a doubt, Final Fantasy XIV. Endwalker obviously did incredible this year. I know Edge has been playing a lot of that and really enjoyed it. I mean, it did so well that I think they had to like stop people being able to like join or purchase the game for a time until they could get everybody on the servers. So Endwalker, you know, Final Fantasy XIV has always done an amazing job, obviously, of supporting the community. Destiny 2 had a pretty good year this year as well, with the Witch Queen expansion, which was sort of you know, received very, very well. And obviously Fortnite, you know, they still doing lots with that franchise, even though I'm not big Fortnite player or supporter. But personally, I probably would give this to Final Fantasy XIV or Destiny 2. But I'm definitely leaning more towards Final Fantasy XIV because they're still doing things in the community to support that. So yeah, that's probably best ongoing for me. Really surprised that we're not getting No Man's Sky in this category, because they've done a lot with No Man's Sky even this year to add to it. So I'm quite surprised that No Man's Sky is not in here. Let's look at the next category. So Best Indie. I'm really pleased to see a lot of these. I've played a lot of these games this year. So I've played A Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray. I've started Tunic, but I haven't finished it. But I know that Fish has finished it from Crack On Gaming, and he really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I think it probably Stray, if I'm predicting, I think Stray is probably going to win. I think Stray will likely win in this category. For me personally, I really enjoyed Cult of the Lamb, though it did have some performance issues and some bugs and frame rate issues and just sort of a couple of game-breaking bugs, things that got glitched that had to be patched out. So that put a bit of a dampener on it for me, but it's still a very, very addictive, very good game. Sifu, I did really enjoy it, and then I liked what they did with introducing the different difficulty levels and things, all the skins that they got added to it on the PC version anyway. So Sifu was a lot of fun. The combat system in Sifu was incredible. But for me personally, while I did really enjoy Stray, and I did think it was a really, really good game, I actually probably would pick Neon White as my indie game of the year. I'm actually disappointed that Steel Rising is not on here, because that's a fantastic indie game, and I would have liked to have seen it represented. But Neon White is a fabulous, fabulous game. It's an incredible platformer. It's got this card system for movement and also combat. It's got really quirky characters. It's just really funny. It's really interesting. Neon White, guys, if you haven't checked it out, do play it. It's a fantastic game. I got it on the Nintendo Switch, and it's the perfect game for handheld, as well as obviously, you know, on the TV. But Neon White, yeah, I think that I probably would pick that as my indie game of the year currently. Best mobile game, couldn't care less, really not interested, really not into mobile gaming, so we're going to skip on that. Best community support, I think here probably No Man's Sky or Final Fantasy XIV probably has some of the best community support. Final Fantasy XIV has a really positive community, and No Man's Sky has really come a long way, and it has a really nice community too. So I do think that No Man's Sky possibly, or Final Fantasy XIV, between those two personally, I think would deserve, you know, best community support for sure, because, you know, they do a good job with staying in touch with the community, communicating with them constantly, updating on things and offering game updates and patches and events and things like that. So I do think, you know, either No Man's Sky or Final Fantasy 14 for best community support. Best action game. So this is kind of interesting. I think personally this is probably between Sifu and Bayonetta 3 probably. I did really enjoy Shredder's Revenge. I really enjoyed it. But personally, for me, I would definitely go with Bayonetta 3. Dante's been playing that, and the combat, like, it's Platinum Games at their finest. The combat, the minute-to-minute action, the set pieces, the cutscenes, just everything is phenomenal in Bayonetta 3. And the combat is just... mwah. Like, they've just taken 1 and 2. Like, I thought that the combat would be too frenetic, you know, the ability to call in, you know, demons and control them and things. I thought that would be too much, all the different weapons and everything else. But the way in which they implement it all, and how easy it is to kind of fluidly switch between the combat, it's like a dance. It's just incredible. So yeah, I think Bayonetta 3 does deserve this. I'm interested to see Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in best action game. I remember I'm sure they used to have a best FPS game. I feel that maybe Call of Duty will get like hard done by in this, but I do think Bayonetta 3 definitely deserves the win in this category. Best action adventure. So there's a lot of really good choices in here. I think personally, if I'm going to make a prediction, it's probably going to be God of War Ragnarok that is going to win this. Definitely, I think God of War Ragnarok will win it. I think it's between these three. You know, I think it's between Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, and A Plague Tale Requiem. Plague Tale Requiem has some like incredible set pieces and things and stealth, but it doesn't do much to add to the formula of what was in the first game. There are bigger combat segments, bigger puzzle solving segments, and bigger stealth segments, and there are more options available to you. But I feel that Horizon Forbidden West added a lot more options into the combat, and especially in the traversal and even puzzle solving. So probably between these two, I would say would be, yeah, it's a Sony. It's between God of War Ragnarok and for Horizon Forbidden West for me. Looking at best role playing, so best RPG, we have Elden Ring, Live Alive, or Live Alive, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, and Xenoblade Chronicles. I have only actually played 2 of these, and Dante has played Arceus, which he really enjoyed. But for me, I think the best RPG, which is obviously character customization, progression, I think for me, the best role-playing game for me is it's either going to be between Elden Ring and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I personally, for my choice, would pick Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because that, without a doubt, was the best RPG that I played this year. It was phenomenal. It's an amazing game. The story, the characters, the world building, the role playing, it's just the sheer level of customization in terms of switching between classes and things. Really good game. But I think Elden Ring will get it, if I'm honest. I think Elden Ring is going to win a lot this year. That's my prediction. But I would like to see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 win, if I'm honest. The next category is Best Family. Obviously, massively dominated by Nintendo, to be expected. In terms of family game, I freaking love Splatoon 3. Like, I love it. It's amazing. I don't think it's a family game, though. I think it's more of a game you play with your friends. You know, it's a multiplayer game. I think good family game, probably it's between, if I'm going to guess, it's probably between Kirby in the Forgotten Land or Mario Rabbit Sparks of Hope, both of which are fantastic. I did really enjoy the Skywalker Saga, and you can play that cooperative as well. And, you know, there are a lot of Star Wars fans out there, so it may well be between these three. But I think personally, it's definitely going to be either Kirby or Mario, because they're obviously huge names. But I hope Kirby wins it. I'd like to see Kirby win Best Family in this category. Next game, Best Sim or Strategy. Haven't played any of these except for Mario and Rabbit Sparks of Hope, so that will be my vote. I know a lot of people did enjoy Total Warhammer 3, and that was received very, very well. Victoria 3 I haven't played any of, and June Spice Wars, I think that's quite a recent release, which I haven't played any of. So I think, yeah, I couldn't call who would win this, but personally, I absolutely loved Mario and Rabbit Sparks of Hope, and they really did improve on the strategy and the sheer volume of choice and freedom with, you know, a strategy game. Like Mario and Rabbit Sparks of Hope took what was great in the first one, but just elevated it in every way. So for me, I think it definitely would be a deserving winner for Best Sim / Strategy. Best Multiplayer, I think it's probably going to be Multiverses, maybe. Could be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The response to that has been amazing. Me personally, I love me my Splatoon, so I probably would vote for Splatoon 3. And this is great couch co-op multiplayer. I think you can play up to, is it 6 or 8 people, which is insane. Overwatch 2, for me, the release of that was I don't really think it should even be nominated, because they took so much out of Overwatch. They hid a lot of things behind a really mediocre battle pass. It had some really dodgy kind of microtransactions. It had some right issues with servers and things. I actually don't think that this deserves a nomination personally, given the way that they've marketed that and released it. Personally, that's my thoughts, that's my feelings on it. But obviously it's Overwatch, right? So it's a massive franchise. But personally, I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is probably going to take this category, most likely. Best debut indie. I'm happy to see Vampire Survivors in this nomination, because I know a lot of people wanted to see them nominated more. I'm happy that Neon White is here. I'm happy that Tunic is here. I think Stray is going to steal the show here. I think Stray will definitely get best debut indie in this for sure. But Neon White was just amazing as well, as was Tunic. I mean, yeah, lots of great games. But I do think Stray will win in this category. That's my prediction. And then best adaptation. I love this new category. This is a brand new category that's been added in this year. Love it. Absolutely love this category. There have been some fantastic video game adaptations in terms of TV series and movies. Netflix have done an amazing job with some of their animated series. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was great. Uncharted, yeah, I don't like the fact that they cast Mark Wahlberg as Sully. It didn't really work for me. But, you know, I love Uncharted, but yeah, I just think it was miscast personally. I absolutely love the Cyberpunk Edge Runner series. That made me want to go back and play the game again, and it made a lot of people want to do that. Fabulous. It just showed that there was a lot more stories to tell in that world, and Arcane was just incredible, just utterly amazing, and I cannot wait for season 2 of Arcane. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going to go. Personally, if I was to choose out of these, I think Arcane is a for sure winner in this category, hands down. I would choose Arcane, and then probably I would pick Cyberpunk Edge Runners as my second, but Arcane was the best out of these for me. And if you haven't seen it on Netflix, it's a must watch. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. It has an amazing soundtrack as well, and great animation, great writing, great art style and direction. Just, it's full of character, and it's really, really good. It's just such a shame that like, I have no interest in playing League of Legends, and the community I hear is quite toxic, so I've got no interest in jumping into that. But the characters in the world are fascinating, so I'm really excited to see more stories told in that world, and for sure Arcane wins this category. And then most anticipated game, that's a tough one, but for me, definitely my most anticipated, I would have said probably Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but we haven't heard anything really from it, so I'm really am torn between Final Fantasy 16. I love the idea of a medieval Final Fantasy, an actual fantasy Final Fantasy, rather than kind of going into sort of modern technology, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm definitely intrigued and interested to see more on that. But my most anticipated game, after the recent more sort of reveals that we got on the gameplay and seeing more of Hogwarts, is Hogwarts Legacy. It probably is one of my most anticipated games of next year. It is a game I am definitely going to be playing day one, and it is definitely a game I will be picking up and reviewing for you all, and I'm very much looking forward to jumping in and playing it. I might even stream some if there is enough interest in that. So for me, I personally would pick Hogwarts Legacy, but what do I think is going to win? Probably Final Fantasy 16, maybe, or Starfield. But personally, I would say Hogwarts Legacy in this category. So there are my thoughts on the nominations, what I think will win, what I would pick in those categories. Please do share your thoughts in the comments below. Which, you know, of these games would you choose? Obviously last year, and I think the year before, we did do a community game awards. Now last year I basically took these nominations and asked you guys to vote. Some of the feedback I got last year was that a lot of you did find it difficult to vote because you hadn't played all of the games that had been nominated in the Game Awards, and that's a fair point. You know, that is a big issue. I am considering this year the best way to do it, whether to just do it as those nominations and you guys vote and I'll collate your votes and then obviously reveal the winners, or whether or not to actually give you guys some time to actually nominate games in each of these categories that you would like to see featured in them. And then obviously I will collate all of those nominations and those picks and choices, and I will pick the most popular choices in each of the major categories. But we might only do, you know, the key like 10 categories or something like that, rather than the 30 odd that they have in the Game Awards. So what I'm going to do after this video goes live is I'm going to go onto my community thread and I'm going to let you guys vote on whether or not you want to use the Game Award nominations or get to pick your own nominations. See what you guys vote, probably give you 24 hours to do that, and then depending on what people say, then obviously we'll get the ball rolling on that, because I do really enjoy getting the community involved and getting you all to vote and share your thoughts and reflect on the past year. But I did want to just share my thoughts on the most recent Game Awards nominations and announcements. So there you go, those are my thoughts on everything. Hope you guys found this video useful, interesting, enjoyed it. If you did, you know, please do support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you get information, you get to know when I upload new content. I am currently working on a Mass Effect video which is sort of a big breakdown analysis of the Mass Effect teaser on N7 Day, but I want to take my time on it. You know, I want to do more research, see what people are saying, get my thoughts together, write a script for it. I want to do it justice, so I'm not going to rush that out to you guys. I will work on it and it will be out at some point this week, so please do look forward to that. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Hope you guys are having a great week. Of course, take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.